Hello, my name is Wendy Farkas, and I'm going to be your teacher for Assist this first trimester of your freshman year at Holly High School. I just wanted to let you know a little bit about myself and about my family and my qualifications to teach Assist. I received my first two BAs and my master's degree at the University of Michigan-Flint, and received my reading endorsement to be a reading specialist for K-12. And then I enrolled in the doctoral program to get my PhD in reading at Oakland University, which I am now finished with all my coursework, yay, and working on my dissertation proposal. And I'm very interested in adolescent literacy and what motivates adolescents to read and to become stronger readers, because research shows and my personal experience reveals that literacy is the absolute key to being successful in education and to prepare yourself for a career in the 21st century. I really enjoy helping students empower themselves through literacy, and that's always my number one goal at the start of each school year. I've taught for 15 years, anywhere from 6th grade through master's level courses, reading and writing classes. I currently teach at Oakland University 2 writing classes in the evening, and I teach at Saginaw Valley University 2 reading classes in the evening. So Monday through Thursday I go from teaching all of you to teaching evening classes, which has given me great experiences and helping to prepare myself to conduct my dissertation research. So now that you know a little bit about me, I want you to meet my family and get an overall picture of what I think about literacy and the importance of literacy. So, on to my family. This is my husband, Dave Farkas, and he's not thrilled about answering my questions today, but he agreed he would. So I just want him to briefly describe his high school literacy experiences.
My high school literacy experiences was not great at all. They were very limited. I basically sat in one classroom all day with one teacher that taught me all my subjects. So if I felt like doing the worksheets that she gave me, I did them. If not, I sat around and looked at magazines or whatever I felt like doing.
Okay, you never had to read novels or anything like that?
There was no reading pushed on me at all in any way, shape, or form.
And if you could change anything about your education, what would it be and why?
To be more, I guess, if I could read better, math-wise, would open so many more different doors for career. As it is now, I'm so limited on what I can do unless I'm willing to put forth the extra effort in doing it.
Okay. Last question. So how old were you when you read your first novel that you really enjoyed? Like you read it cover to cover and liked it?
36.
What was the novel?
I was Gary Paulson. Trying to think of the book, the name actually.
Well, you read a couple. I remember you read Hatchet.
Hatchet was the one that sticks in my mind actually.
Yeah, and then you actually told me to read because you laughed out loud at it. The one where the little boy went to his family to be raised on the farm, and
Harrison me.
Harrison, yeah, Harrison me, yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for the interview, Mr. Farkas. Okay, this is my daughter, Sabrina. And her dad's bugging her over there. She wasn't thrilled about being interviewed either. But I'm going to ask her a couple questions about her literacy experiences as well. Do you remember when you first started loving to read?
No. I think it was during 2nd grade.
Okay, do you remember what motivated you to read in 2nd grade?
The Little Princess.
So was that the first book that you fell in love with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait. No, remember the book you read to me? Go to Bed, Otto.
Oh, Go to Bed, Otto. So the children's book was the first one, and then as far as you wanting to read chapter books, it was The Little Princess. Have there been any series that you've read that you've really enjoyed?
The Little House.
Little House on the Prairie. And how many books have you read this summer?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
20?
Yeah, I'd say probably even more than 20. Sometimes you read more than 2 in a day. I saw you. You would stay up until wee hours of the morning. And do you feel that reading helps you be a good student?
In some ways.
Like what?
Just study.
Yeah. What about reading directions and that sort of thing? Do you pretty much remember what you read?
It helps with spelling though too.
Okay.
When you're writing notes so you can actually read it.
All right. Are you a good student?
Check my report card.
What was your last report card?
I'm sure your students all know it. You're like, say it like every teacher's.
Well, what was your last report card?
A+.
Yeah, you got all A's. And what grade are you going into?
6.
All right. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, this is the rest of my family here. This is my son, David, and this is my son, Casey. David or Casey, neither one are here right now, so I just wanted to give you a complete picture of my fam. And my boys, I have to show you another family member, and she's being bashful. This is Abby Rose, and then I hear Griffin coming behind me. Griffin! That's Griffin. And they don't so much like to read, but chew on books, so we have to keep them away from the books. And now, our home. And this is outside our home. This is our pond, and we see deer around our pond all the time, and wild turkeys, and rabbits, and all kinds of animal life. So this is what I get to wake up to every morning. Okay, I'm upstairs now, and this is one bookshelf my husband actually built for me. So this is in my bedroom. And then we're walking down the hallway. This is my library. So pretty much floor to ceiling books. Wherever you look in my library, anything from children's to young adult to adult. And yet as many books as I have, and of course I have my computer and my Kindle and my iPad and all of the digital literacy things. And then this is my daughter's room. So she's very music literate as well. She's been playing piano since she's 4. She played the cello, and now she's teaching herself the guitar. And she's got books everywhere. Constantly a book reading. She's currently reading Radiance. And then in here she has more books. Her Little House in the Prairie series. And she has her videos somewhere of her little house. Oh, right there. Her videos. So as she reads them, then she watches the old movies of Little House on the Prairie. I wanted to take just a couple seconds and talk about my early literacy experiences because my daughter and I have something in common. We both loved the Little House on the Prairie series. I actually bought her a set when she was in 2nd grade, and she didn't read them till toward the end of 2nd grade after she had already fallen in love with The Little Princess and The Secret Garden and those books. And it's funny because in her interview she talked about The Little Princess being the first book she has fallen in love with, and then Goodnight Otto, the book I read to her. But she read a lot of books before then, like Junie B. Jones, Boxcar Kids. But it's that just right book that really hooks you into reading. And for me, that was Little House on the Prairie. And I used to talk about it all the time with my grandma, who also loved the series. I also wanted to talk about my literacy experiences from middle school through high school. They really were not very positive as far as school goes. I don't even remember ever reading a novel in my English classes. I remember having to do book reports, but I would just like read the back of the book and kind of BS my way through a book report, which is really quite sad. I do remember loving to read at that age, but it was more books that my mom was giving me like V.C. Andrews series, and I absolutely devoured the whole Flowers in the Attic series in 1 week. I had the chicken pox, and I was home in bed sick, and I read that whole series in like 6 days, and I just remember loving it. And I do remember reading Little Women during that time, and again, it was a book that I just picked up on my own. The only book that I really remember reading for school was a book about child abuse. It was based on a true story, and I think it's very comparable to what many of you may have read already, A Child Called It. And I just remember not being able to put it down and being so disturbed by its content, but yet just enraptured in the reading. So that about sums up my middle school and high school literacy experiences, sadly. And I never really fell in love with young adult literature until I was an adult, mainly because there really wasn't that much out there. And then my college literacy experiences were tremendous. I really started, when I started taking the young adult literacy classes, I started devouring young adult literature. Since I started my master's in literacy program, the quality and amount of young adult literature is just staggering compared to when I was in high school. It was practically non-existent. And then I started having to read research articles and professional journals, and I would find myself on some of these research articles having to look up every other word to understand the point of a paragraph, and it was really dense reading. And thankfully I was a strong reader and had read enough on my own in middle school and high school to develop those comprehension and fluency skills, or else I would have had a really hard time with my graduate studies. And now I'm to the point where I can read just about anything without really struggling. Now, if I was to read outside my genre, like a medical book, I would probably be right back to looking up every other word. But knowing that I have the skills to pre-read and think about my reading as I'm reading and use all my reading strategies, I'm very confident that I could tackle anything, any type of reading that I wanted to or needed to. And that's a really good feeling. And so moving into my professional life now, I am a very confident reader in all literacies, including 21st century digital literacies. Now what I do every day and evening in my career is try to motivate adolescents and young adults to read, and to get every young adult into the just right book so that they want to read. And it's not just reading out of necessity, but it's reading because they want to, and they are becoming lifelong readers and thus lifelong learners. And this will carry over to their educational careers in college or trade schools or wherever life takes them after high school, and then of course their professional careers in the future, because 21st century digital literacies and the ability to read unlocks many doors. And that's the journey that has led me to my current professional life that I absolutely love. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Around the clock, 1, 2, 3.